Welcome back, estheticians. Welcome back to Esthetician Edit. I'm Samantha, your host, and today we are joined again with Lina Kennedy from Alexandria Pro, and we're super excited to talk to her. You look great, Lina. If you don't mind just introducing yourself for maybe those who didn't watch the last podcast.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Lina Kennedy, President and CEO, or Jack of all trades, right, of Alexandria Professional. We are responsible for pioneering professional body sugaring worldwide for 34 years now, and created something that is, in my mind, and those that really apply our education, our technique, and everything, the most gentle, effective form of permanent reduction hair removal, inclusive. Doesn't matter the color of your skin, the skin condition, the type of hair, vellus versus terminal. We do it all. Yeah.
Mhm. So we want to talk a little bit as about your success as a female entrepreneur because I think this industry is led by a lot of women and which is really
Hmm.
inspiring. I know when I came into the industry, I wanted to become an esthetician, not so much to like treat the skin, even though I wanted to treat the skin, but more so because I was inspired by all of the estheticians that I would meet and how they would create a business and they would a lot of them were very creative and creating something that was really special for them. And talking to you last time, I feel like, you're really passionate about sugaring and you
Mm.
took an idea that was really close to your heart and you like ran with it. So if you don't mind kind of sharing as a female founder in the beauty industry, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned about leadership in
Mm.
business?
It's a big one,
Uh-huh.
but it get asked a lot, right? For
Mhm.
me, it's stay true to you. And there's a lot of ways to make money, Samantha, in any industry, especially in a beauty industry, though, because there's a lot of manipulation out there. But for me is I cannot represent something I don't 100% believe in. I have to understand the purpose and value of everything we provide, everything we manufacture. It has to be able to be clearly defined so that I can help, whether they're salon clients or estheticians or beauty students, right? Because we do a lot with beauty schools or even some of our distributors. If I can't convey the message with clarity, with conviction, with passion, then I'm in the wrong business for me because all those things matter to me. So if you have an idea and you feel passionate about it, you may stand alone for a while because there's always, a lot of noise around you trying to break you down, trying to create negativity, negative thoughts, and
Mhm.
stand firm. If you truly believe what you want to represent, stand with your 2 feet planted. Keep your mind and soul open to receiving and clear thoughts. Yeah, works for me
I
anyway.
Yeah, no, it works so well for you. And I couldn't agree more because I feel like a lot of estheticians even struggle with like retail sales and selling their products or their services. But it's so much easier when you actually believe in the service you're providing and the product. And it's just like an
Yeah.
easy sell.
That's a big problem, not just here in the US. Every country I deal with is everybody feels like it's very difficult to get their salon accounts to retail.
Mhm.
And that's twofold. As you were saying, if you don't believe in it, if you're not a product of what you represent. In other words, if I had hairy underarms or, bikini or anywhere hair, how can I
Mhm.
represent sugaring the way I do? I know what it does because it is what it is. There's nothing I haven't done with it. But when you're looking at retail products, your clients are going to buy something from somewhere, whether it's Sephora's, online, Amazon, Walmart, Targets. They're going to buy what they need from someone. What you
Mhm.
represent should be what you believe is the best for their need from what you do, that partnership you built with your client from an ST to a client. That's the most intimate relationship you can have, right? Because,
Mhm.
a lot of people share a lot of secrets inside that room, which, we keep to ourselves. But at the end of the day, you're building trust. So if you try to take, here's my cup of coffee. Oh yeah, it's really good. But, you know, don't you know this brand? then that's not representing anything. What is this going to do for you? It's not coffee, first of all, it's a chai latte. But you know what I mean? Like, so if they need something for their hair care, why does the one you have available matter? In
Mhm.
my world, in the Alexandria Professional world, we have a full circle of skin conditioning program, and there's specifics to each quarter of that circle, and there's a specific value and purpose. So I need to be able to describe that so that they go home and do these things, and we partner up for to reach the not just the hair removal aspect, to reach the optimum skin condition, because all that affects hair growth, and it affects how the hair comes out. So, and
Mhm.
not only that, but the skin. I know you know more. I won't talk about everything, but with eczema and psoriasis and keratosis and everything else we take care of, that's great. But the base foundation of that message is everybody's skin becomes better. But if you can't articulate that, the reasons why, what they can
Yeah.
expect, then how are they going to trust you? And if you can't show your legs, your whatever, to show how good it is, then they still
Mhm.
can't understand it.
Yeah.
So I have a lot that
Yeah.
I do with that.
I think that like even going to the trade shows, a lot of estheticians could be like overwhelmed because there's so many brands out there, there's so many products, but it's like I think that it's really important to write down the questions like what is this brand's philosophy? What's their mission? Like what is it that I'm going to be selling much more than the product itself, you know? And
That's
so
right.
what would you say are like three selling points that you feel like are just natural, like this is why my product is like I believe in my product so much. If you can give us just like three.
Okay. Well, we manufacture, so we know what goes into it. You never know what
Mhm.
goes into it if you're not the manufacturer. So one to me is veganism is important to me. So being Leaping Bunny certified takes a lot of work on a manufacturer, but it's worth the time and money to get to that point. So anytime we try to create anything new, we have to know that the formula, every single ingredient has to be examined to make sure it's all vegan, right? So for me, skin health is number one. So I know anyone who uses our products, they're all like our products are all healthy for the skin. It's kind of like skin nutrients. So that's one thing very important for me. Two, know that the products, what you say it will do it. But don't
Mhm.
oversell. By that, I mean, don't over exaggerate, because yes, every body is different. Every skin we all have the base similar needs, but then there's other things needed. So how can your products affect that? And third is to have a fair pricing. By fair, I don't mean cheap, because, we know the beauty industry. We understand, I won't go into, all of that, but we understand
Mhm.
there's layers of people who need to make a profit margin. So you have to find a way to keep your pricing reachable, not just for those that have a deeper pocket, but for those that have a great need and may not have a deep pocket. And that's where it comes in, that number one, will it be really good for them? So just be
Mhm.
confident in what you represent, I think, is the most important. And you can't be that unless you're knowledgeable. So whoever you're
Yeah.
working with, whatever brand company you're working with, ask for as much information, education, knowledge, not just, oh, there's this and this and this. Talk about it together. I don't even mean
Mhm.
role reversal. I really mean open up a conversation. Let the words flow. Let your curiosities and questions come out, and watch how they respond.
Mhm.
Because that just like your customers are looking at you, if they're asking you a question, they can see how you respond, right? So
Mhm.
if you're unsure, you're better to say, I'm not that familiar with it, but I want to be able to answer this, not just for you, but for me. Let me get it. That's better than trying to camouflage with a lot of colorful words that will mean nothing in the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important also to, as an esthetician, to identify like your values. And then from there, that's when you ask the right questions. Because as you're speaking, I'm really seeing like what your values are as a company. how did these values come to be? Did you always have them from like the very beginning? Were you always like, okay, I want my products to be vegan, I want to focus on this? Or is it something that just evolved with time?
No, it evolved, Sam, because 34 years ago, we weren't speaking the same languages we're speaking today when it comes to even, the microplastic they're finding in everything now. So we didn't have as much science behind us. So, but as it became more, we'd have some that were vegan, but I couldn't claim vegan company. So we finally bit the bullet, made the decision, let's go for it. And that's what we did. Just like being gluten-free. I will never
Mhm.
forget this. I walked into the factory one day and I said, guys, I want to make our company gluten-free. And all the guys laughed at me. Well, is everybody going to just eat everything? Well, you can eat our sugar, but I wouldn't eat my lotion. And I said, you know what? You don't understand. I said, there's only 1% of the population that has celiac, according to what I researched. But one of our people who was an educator in California had celiac, which I didn't know. So when I found out she had celiac, which is why she couldn't use a couple of our products that were not gluten-free, even if they were healthy for the skin, I said, you know what? That's one too many who can't use what we have. So we turned around and reformulated. And now we can claim gluten-free. It's not because it's
Mhm.
bringing profit in. It's because I felt socially responsible to make this happen for her or anyone else who has that problem. So now I know we're gluten-free certified. I don't know if it's certification. And we're also oncology approved. So that's another step I took. So we became oncology approved. That's very safe and effective and gentle, even right down to the sugaring technique that we do for cancer patients. Proud.
I love that. I love that. And it sounds like you are receiving your customer feedback and then acting on it, which I think is super important. You seem like a very go-getter type that like when you want to change something, you're like, let's do it. How do you stay inspired and continue to grow personally and professionally? Like what
You
keeps
know,
the
it
momentum going?
it's like a drug into my veins. Not that I ever did that, but still, if I did, I would imagine. It's like a drug into my veins when people send compliments about our company, when they do a
Mhm.
post, when they give us a shout, when they tell someone else, like, or when I do trade shows. Because the trade shows, as exhausting as they are, because we're like, I'm on my feet, we are on our feet all day long, and there is no stopping of sugaring because everybody wants to try it, right? So,
Yeah.
but the trade shows, when people say, oh my God, I don't feel, oh my God, like this literally happens every time I sugar someone anywhere in the world and they see how it feels, they're shocked. And that's the injection into my veins to keep going. Even it's been 34 years in April. 34 years. I could go for another 50 years before it's really, really well recognized. It's good that there's so many
Mhm.
other companies on the market because one company can't do it all themselves. The more out there, the more there's awareness about sugaring. The only problem, if you go to my TikTok, which I think you've gone to, Sam, a lot of people are coming in saying, I had sugar, I'll never go back. It was so painful. They pulled my hair, my skin hurt, I got bruised. And that's the only hurtful thing to me is that I wish everybody would try to sugar with that gentleness, that accuracy, with the thought of feeling what is the customer feeling as I'm molding this, and I just wish everybody would do the best that they can and not think I was trained, I'm certified, I can do this. Get more education, learn more, fine tune your skills because the value to your customer is tenfold. And that it's not
Mhm.
just about the money you're making, it's that you get this huge sense of pride because everybody can't believe, like they love it so much. That's the day I retire when the sugaring world is so normalized. You know what? I joined the NIC. I don't know if I told you last time. This is very
I
important.
think you
This
did.
took us
Mhm.
34 years. I'm going to be working with NIC as one of their hair, of course, the sugaring specialist, but one of their hair removal for education. And NIC is
Mhm.
all about the ongoing education or licensing the schools, whatever you call it. In the US, I have a partner in crime that I sit with that manages all the schools for us. But yeah, we're doing that now. That's huge.
Yeah,
That's
that's
huge.
amazing. That's what's really going to make a difference. And I think you
More
also
schools.
being in the yeah, being in the forefront also, and like being very hands-on and face to face with your customer speaks volumes, because there is a lot of brands where they'll have their team, for example, at the trade shows, but the founder themselves won't be there and they won't be teaching and stuff. So I think it works in your favor. And that's something that they're probably missing out on. And also it benefits, your customers, because they get to ask all the questions, and they probably, they want to be the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit more about you. I'm interested, like a day in the life of Lina Kennedy, like what daily habits or rituals contribute to your success?
I won't go into the whole story, but up until about 9 months ago, I exercised pretty much every day. And
Hmm.
I went through something that, I didn't exercise anymore. I am going to go back. I started walking again. The weather is nice again. But I think exercise, I eat healthy. I may not eat as much as everybody would like me to eat, but everything I put in is actually healthy stuff. So I make sure, just like the products, right? I make sure what I feed my body, not just my skin, my body is healthy. But I could be up at 5:30 in the morning and take care of my little Archie. And then I go to the computer. I'm communicating nonstop. Sometimes it's 11:30 and no word of a lie, because I get to do that for now. I could still be in my PJs at 11:30 because I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
stop. I'm just drinking and responding and looking and checking, and then I'm like, geez, I gotta get dressed, because I get lost into everybody else's needs. Not just
Mhm.
like the company needs, but all our distributors or practitioners or what people begging me to answer on TikTok or whatever it is. And that's the day. And then it's managing. It's a lot. It's a lot of
Mhm.
work to run a company. It's easier to run a distribution, the front end, and it can be easy to run only the factory, but we're global and we do it all. So and
Mhm.
I have amazing, my daughter being one of them. I have amazing people on my team. Like, I'm really, really blessed, really blessed. There's no way I could do this by myself. I might go out there and sugar by myself, but I couldn't do everything I do if I didn't have the wonderful structured support I have.
I love that. And are there like any books, mentors, or experiences that have had a major impact on your mindset?
I can't say I've read a lot of, the self-help books. So I can't say
Mhm.
I usually start reading and I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. So it's not
I
like,
know this.
well, no, it's not about, I know it's, I get it. Yeah. And this is what I
Oh,
do. Just like The Secret. Remember when The Secret came out, the book?
yeah.
Before the book came out, I was in California and I went to see a naturopath, and she took a chunk of my hair in the back to have, like you take it and you don't touch it and then you get it analyzed. And as we're talking through this appointment, she says, "Have you ever read online something called The Secret?" She goes, "You make, I feel like you're part of that." I goes, "No."
Oh.
So I went online. She gave me the link. I went online, and I'm like, "I've been doing that all my life." Literally, I've been like manifesting. I didn't know that's what it was called. I've been doing it since I was a kid. I'll be on my
Mhm.
exercise bike for an hour and I'll be like, I'll do a whole movie of my life, right? So I've been doing that since I was a kid. So then when the book came out, I sent it to my brother, and he said to me, "Oh, wow, Lean, I feel like you wrote this book." And I laughed. And then I met one of the authors in California one time at an event, and he wanted me to partake in their, it was they branched off, the authors branched off, and he wanted me
Uh-huh.
to partake, but I didn't have time. So
Aw.
that really, manifestation is important. Meditation
Mhm.
helps calm you. You can see I'm not the most calm
Mhm.
person all the time. And yeah, but I haven't, I've had more experiences with individuals. Like when I
Mhm.
worked in Toronto for Petro-Canada in a collection department. I can't go into, that's in a book too, the story. I'll never forget this woman when I had to tell her she was my top manager, Anne something. And I met her in the cafeteria. I was having lunch. She came. She goes, "So, Lina, did you make your decision?" She wanted to send me to school. They wanted to pay to send me to school for management so that I can rise up, right? And I had,
Uh-huh.
if you read my book, I dropped out of school in grade 9. And well, I'm not proud of it though. So anyway, when I said to her, "Yeah, I really considered, but it's really not for me. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know this is not it. But thank you so much for the." And I remember she looked at me. She was a really tall, beautiful woman. She's, "Lina, I know whatever you do, you will rise. And that was
Mhm.
it. So those are moments. And I had that happen with another man at a nightclub I used to work at in Toronto who said the same thing when I left there. And I think those really, like, when people have confidence in me, the last thing I want to do is let them down. You know,
Mhm.
I have someone
Yeah.
in my office who's been working with us for 33 years, and she always says, I've never met anyone who has as many horseshoes fall out of her back end like you do. Not in those words, more crass, but that's the meaning.
Mhm.
So
I think
people
you
people
just
trust me.
Yeah,
That
I think you
helps.
have like a strong sense of belief. I feel like in order to be successful, you need a strong sense of belief in yourself and in
Yes.
what you are creating. And it sounds like you just kind of let passion just like lead you, which they write books about that. And if people have such a hard time with it.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that's very admirable. Yeah.
You cannot succeed if you don't first have the trust in yourself, your abilities,
Mhm.
and if you don't have the full abilities, there's people around you can go to. But without trust in yourself, there's going to be enough naysayers. You need to be
Mhm.
at least your own center core, because I've walked the walk where I didn't have the entourage of trust. You know, more people tried to take you down than tried to help you. But whenever that one, just like what still feeds my vein, whenever that one
Yeah.
friend or one employee would say, you know what, Lina, we believe, we trust in you. Like we're here with you, not for you. We're here
Mhm.
with you. So, you know, when you have that going on, it's a force.
And I know you mentioned in your book that you had a near-death experience. I believe I was the age of 7.
7.
How did that, like, did that in any way contribute to the way that you are now?
Every single day I breathe, it contributes.
Mhm.
I never, ever forget the message. You know, I didn't want to come back. And I think it's a common thing when you read any books on life after death experiences. It's a common feeling. And I'll tell you why. Because, and I didn't even go as far as I could give you another story, like privately, another time from a friend. She went really
Uh-huh.
far. She was brain dead for many minutes. She should not have. And she worked for me now 33 years and
Wow.
we're very close. But everybody has that same feeling. It's because I can't even put it into words how I felt there. Like it's not even, I don't know any other word other than like enigmatic, because it's the most, you don't even need to describe the calm and the peace and the beauty that you feel of nothing. It's like, I don't
Mhm.
even know how to put it into words. It was so surreal. So I didn't want to go back. And there was a little hand that, not a little hand, but it was a hand that went on my shoulder with a male voice saying, you know, you have to go back. I don't want to go
Uh-huh.
back. You have to
Mhm.
go back. A lot of people depend on you. This is what I carry every day. And don't worry, you are never alone. We are always with you. I have never, in tough times, I remind myself, all right, what will be, you know, just keep going
Mhm.
forward, let go, right? What doesn't work
Mhm.
for you, what's not needed, you need to let go to have space for the good new stuff to come in. So I have little shoulders. I think that's the one thing that I was blessed with, which I don't like, but I think the little shoulders makes everything roll off faster. So I
Uh-huh.
can just let it go a little bit easier. I don't know. Maybe that's why I ended up
That's
with these
so
little shoulders.
beautiful. I actually like on my free time, I haven't done it in a while, but I one of like my things is that I like to listen to near death experiences on YouTube
Yeah.
because of those messages, and it kind of reminds you of like it just brings like a sense of peace, and that you don't need to worry as much as we worry, and life
No.
isn't as serious, so it's kind of
This is
like
not
just
end all
do.
be all. It's a
Yeah,
great
exactly.
journey. It's, you know, some are more blessed to be here than others. And I realize
Hmm.
that, you know, like being born on the wrong side or the right side of the track, as they say, but it's just a journey. That's what I
Hmm.
believe. Sometimes, you know, even I, with everything I understand and know and practice and preach, sometimes I let the stress infiltrate. And I went to
Yeah.
a relaxation. Okay, they smoke, but I don't smoke. It's a, I don't know what you call it, like a THC thing. And so I tried one last night for the first time. It was fantastic. So it's a meditation. It's a meditation place, like about 10
Uh-huh.
women go. Yeah, I got to tell
Uh-huh.
you, I think I'm going to go more to see, reteach myself how to do my own meditation, because I used to get there in no time at all. So I have to reteach
Hmm.
myself. Yeah.
I love that. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's go a bit into sugaring. So, if you estheticians are listening to this now and you haven't listened or watched our last podcast, we talk about what sugaring is, the difference between sugaring versus waxing. I kind of, in this podcast, want to get a little bit more into the products. So, like, if I'm an esthetician and I'm starting off with Alexandria Pro, what do you feel like are the essential products that I should look into or start off with?
Well, when you get trained with us, you have to have your pre and post care, your cleanser, your
Okay.
tonic, your powder, and your hydrating lotion after. That's like the very base of it with the sugar types. But for post care as a professional, we have something called Sisimi.
Hmm.
The Sisimi and mud puddle are two things I would say carry in a back bar, because if someone has very sensitive skin, you can apply the Sisimi before, leave it on for 15 minutes and wipe it off because it's, more oily with shea butter. So you want to wipe it off because the skin has to be well cleansed of skin oils and lotions, period. Otherwise, the sugar will slip off the skin, right? It won't penetrate and it won't do the things it's supposed to do. So the
Hmm.
C-seam is a great go-to for before or after, especially if you're extracting vellus hair, which can lead to histamine reactions. So there's a whole category that we teach about that and the value of it. Even if somebody, let's say their upper lip, they're usually a little sensitive or they've never tried sugaring before, you can try it without the sesame, but the sesame just calms. Whether you do before or after, it just instantly calms the skin. It's not an anesthetic cream. It just calms the nerves so you don't get the messaging saying, hey, I'm uncomfortable, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And then there's, and that again, that helps with histamines also. And then the mud puddle is anti-inflammatory and also calms the skin. And it has over 60%, well, actually 60% silicon dioxide. So it's a really good product to put onto the skin in the beauty industry. So that
Hmm.
would be your back bar professional. That is a
Okay.
must. But in the full circle, like if I could get all the salons, and I'm not going to say that they're all like that, but if we had every salon in the world that we've trained follow the protocol, really
Hmm.
hone in on the 6 steps to perfect sugaring, and support the full circle of skin conditioning, and offer with all that the PRP permanent reduction program, we would be all speaking the same language of improved skin on everyone and faster permanent reduction of hair growth. It is
Hmm.
black and white with me. It doesn't matter how many people try to argue with me on TikTok. I just continue to give my facts because I know them to be true. Yeah.
Hmm. And so, if I'm a client and I am buying the products, are these products to go home with as well? And
Yes,
how
that's the full
often?
circle retail for home. Yeah.
Okay. And how often do I use it? Like, what
Okay.
does that look like?
I always tell everyone, just try for 30 days. When I had my studio, I would actually I would charge them. I would say, if you can look in my eyes at the end of 30 days and say your skin is not improved at all, but you follow the process very clearly at home, I will refund you. I never had to
Mhm.
refund anyone because they couldn't argue with their skin, right? So here's
Yeah.
what I would do. I would have, let's say they came to me the first time for sugaring. So, they might have ingrowns, lots of dry skin, maybe bumpy skin. They're not really ingrowns, but congested follicles and all these little
Hmm.
things. And I sugar, and the skin's already better and they're happy. Here's how they can maintain that level and start to improve it. They would go home with phenomenal, a sweet cheeks or
Hmm.
salt smoothie, and mud puddle. So I would have them obviously not exfoliate right away. I would have them start with a phenomenal, which is a skin cell softener and repair. It's even good for, well, that we have so much on that for psoriasis, eczema, keratosis. Originally, I created it for ingrown hairs. But if you think of what an ingrown hair is and all the various types of ingrowns and the
Hmm.
conditions of them, you can see why it naturally defaulted into eczema and psoriasis and so on. So that would be the first. Why? Because I want them to keep those skin cells healthy and it helps skin cell regeneration as well. So you want to keep those skin cells healthy so that and soften so that when you start exfoliating in about 3-4 days or even a week down, then those skin cells are easy. We're not trying to do a deep peel, just surface
Uh-huh.
exfoliation. And once you surface exfoliate, immediately after you rinse that off, you put the mud because now everything is freshly removed and the mud can penetrate deeper and actually purge out congested follicles and also help to squeeze out any ingrowns, right? If they had any to begin with, right? You want to clear out that skin. So now this is good for them. The skin looks beautiful. But for you as the esthetician, when they come back and you start to sugar, they're going to say, oh, I hardly feel it. I don't feel it like I did the first time or whatever they're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that all the hair is refined. It's that the follicles are more decongested. So the sugar penetrates easier, faster, and the hair
Mm-hmm.
slides out. You know, we only take the hair out in the natural direction and it's lubricated and the hair slides out faster, easier.
Mm-hmm.
There's no resistance in there. You know, that hair is ready to come out. There's no fighting anymore. And this just gets better and better. And when they go on the permanent reduction program, which means depending on the body part and the how quick their hair grows back, when they go on a PRP program, you know, they might be getting sugared some anywhere between 5 to 10 days in between, up to 2 weeks, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
because they have a lot of hair. It's because any hair that is popping through the skin, we know is in the early anagen stage. And you get to take every hair out. You try that for 6 months, you see quite a result. You get to take every hair out in the early anagen stage alone. So now you
Mm-hmm.
have beautiful skin, decongested follicles, vibrant color, more fresh looking, and the treatment is so fast and easy. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
This is very, like, if I could teach anyone who wants to learn everything and become an expert when they open their place, I would have them come for 1 month and do every, so they
Mm-hmm.
walk out understanding, knowing, master of all, the 6 steps, master
Mm-hmm.
of all body parts with the knowledge that they can share and communicate. That would be another level.
I love that. And the permanent reduction program it's basically the client would come in every week for 6 months, is
Yeah,
what you're saying.
every depending on the body part, it could be for like
Okay.
if it's hormonal facial hair, they could come in
Mm.
every day just to remove 2, 3, 4, 5 hairs that are coming through, but they don't want to, you don't want them to pluck because most people
Yeah.
pluck. And when they pluck, they break. That's why you get a lot of hyperpigmentation and keloids in women here because it's the toughest place to remove the hair. And that's where they break the most. So they get really bad ingrowns and then they go after that
Uh-huh.
and then they end up with keloids, hyperpigmentation.
Would that be beneficial for like women with PCOS that are growing like are now growing the facial hair?
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. And gentle. And you could do them like every 2, 3 days, whatever they need. So they never
Mm-hmm.
have all the hair there ever again. So what we do in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, we manage the hair growth so that it's not a burden on the, I have so many stories about this. So the first thing you want to do for a woman is take away the burden of having this type of facial hair growth, period.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to work with them to diminish it. And I'm not going to say you will get rid of 100% of it. Nobody, not laser, not electrolysis, can say that. And I have a lot of stories on that too. However,
Mm-hmm.
to get it under control where it's no longer a burden, you will refine the hair so that the hair doesn't come back pronged. It starts to, so it's less visual when you look to the side. You know, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I'm about to write an article actually, sensitive skin and sugaring. And then another one on all the different types of hair textures and colors that we
Uh-huh.
can do. Yeah.
I love that. I'll be honest. I actually had a dream like a month ago that I was waxing, like because I do facials. And then the more that I speak to you, the more that I'm like, wow, I feel like this is a service that I need to like start or just start practicing because I am like that person that has the dry legs, that has really,
Ah,
really thick hair, that has the bumps. I also have PCOS. I don't have as much hair as other
on
women do,
right.
but I do grow like a little bit here.
Now's the time to take care of it
Yeah. So I
effectively
feel
and
like I can
safely.
practice on myself. Yeah. And then
Exactly.
hopefully treat people.
Well,
So,
you got to come to us, take this course, and then
yes.
jump onto all of our master classes, mastery classes online, because you still get access to an educator that way. Once you learn the 6 steps, taking our online courses is easy because you have the
Mhm.
foundation of it. The rest is just to help you get better and better. Just like our, don't laugh at me, but I wanted to call it the Sugar Better Masterclass. We're going to change it to the Mastery Class because Sugar Better sounds arrogant. That's not what I meant by it. I really mean like Sugar Better. So we'll call it the
Uh-huh.
Mastery. I'm sharing that with you, and I'm sure my team is going to kill me, but that's the reason.
Well, I love it. And I feel like after these 2 calls with you, like I really do, I'm being so honest. I think that I'm going to take the leap with sugaring. And I'm convinced that there's other people listening as well that are going to as well after hearing your podcast. Any esthetician is considering adding sugaring to their services, what would you say to them?
Shop around,
Mhm.
talk to people, make sure you get, in order to bring sugaring in and be very successful, put your best foot forward and accept that you must learn and practice
Mhm.
a lot to become a master. And then the world is yours with your clients, because when you can provide everything I'm sharing with all of you here, and I thank you, Sam, I appreciate your passion on it. And but the reason you're feeling that is because of I believe everything I'm saying and I've seen the facts, the results,
Yeah.
right? So just do your shopping around, and
Mhm.
cheapest is not always best. Look for quality, look for good education, look for good support, and don't be shy, no matter which company you go with, to reach out to them for more, anything, just a conversation, more knowledge, more makes you better and gives your clients
Mhm.
what they deserve. That's really it for me. The client.
Awesome.
It's
Thank
all
you so
about the
much.
client.
Well, thank you so much. If anyone is interested in learning more about Alexandria Pro, you can visit alexandriapro.com. And you can also visit Alexandria Pro at the ICS Philadelphia show happening May 4th
I'll be
and
there.
5th. They're going to be doing a workshop on sugaring versus waxing. And they're going to be doing live demos. So you can probably like feel the
Feel it.
experience for yourself.
Come and feel
Yeah.
it. And then that, I don't
Yes.
even have to say a word. I can try to do that. They can muzzle me, but come and feel it for yourself, and it answers all your questions.
Well, thank you and bye,
Thank you, Sam.
esthetician.